CBS News has learned U.S. officials are looking into cases of child brides among Afghans now in U.S. custody who fled the Taliban's rule. According to the Associated Press, who first reported the story, the cases were identified at U.S. facilities in Wisconsin and the United Arab Emirates. A senior State Department official said authorities take these claims seriously. So I want to bring in CBS News White House reporter Bo Erickson, who's been following this story, to talk a little bit more about this. So it appears, Bo, and thanks for joining us. It appears that we are talking about girls who claim that they were forced to marry right before they left the country. Why were these girls forced into marriages, and how were they identified?
Yeah, this is really unfortunate events that have been taking place that we've learned. CBS News was told that U.S. officials are aware of at least several instances where young Afghan girls and young women were forced to enter into marriages outside that Kabul airport in that hurried evacuation in order to either help the young girl get into a family situation in order to board the U.S. evacuation planes, or in effort to help Afghan man enter into a family as well. We have learned about this because through the vetting processes at foreign U.S. bases, they have been asking these Afghan evacuees basic questions when it comes to vetting. And I was told this weekend that one of the things that is kind of raising the flags here is that there are age differences between some young Afghan women and the men who are they supposedly married to. The authorities over there, U.S. officials, have said that they are going back and asking these questions. Obviously, in the United States, young girls cannot be married to older men, so that is creating kind of a ripple over there, and the U.S. officials are still trying to figure out how to deal with this issue.
Yeah, well, that was going to be my next question is, what happens in the evacuation process if a forced marriage is identified? I mean, on the one hand, if these girls were not, a part of the extended family of an Afghan ally, then maybe they wouldn't really qualify. But then on the flip side, we know that at least the last time the Taliban ran the country, they were brutally oppressive to women. And so for that reason alone, for humanitarian reasons, they may qualify to be evacuated. What are the options?
My colleagues and I here at CBS News have been told that U.S. officials are taking this very seriously. They are investigating all potential claims of forced marriages. That is being investigated by the Department of Homeland Security and also the FBI on these young women and girls who have actually made it to the U.S. through the evacuation process so far. We've also been told that they've been posting signs in the U.S. military sites here in this country and also at foreign bases, talking out about forced marriages and wanting these women to come forward to notify them. I was told this weekend by someone who's familiar with kind of this process of investigating, saying that if they feel like these women are in danger, they will actually separate them from their travel companions as well. And the U.S. is still trying to figure out what to do with these young girls who may be forced into these marriages and also the men who may have forced them. It is unclear right now what will actually happen depending on whether if they are still at a foreign base or whether at the U.S. So U.S. officials are still trying to figure out if there may be any legal ramifications for these individuals going forward.
Okay, so meanwhile, there are tens of thousands of Afghans legitimately in this country and at other bases. The Secretary of Homeland Security, Alejandro Mayorkas, says over 50,000 Afghan evacuees are expected to resettle in the U.S. What more can you tell us about where these Afghan evacuees are now?
Yeah, it's so good to keep the spotlight on this big evacuation process, because even though these tens of thousands of Afghans made it out of that scary situation at the Kabul airport, there's still a long road ahead for them. Right now, according to federal data that was obtained here at CBS News, as of yesterday, there was about 41,000 Afghan evacuees currently in the United States. They are being temporarily housed in 6 different states at different military installations there. There's currently currently also about 22,000 Afghan evacuees still at overseas bases awaiting U.S. vetting procedures in order to bring them over to this country. Where are these evacuees right now in the United States? The most of them are at Fort McCoy in Wisconsin. We also have evacuees at Fort Bliss in Texas, and also at bases and military sites in New Jersey, Virginia, Indiana, and New Mexico. The big question is how many of these Afghan evacuees will be allowed by the Biden administration to resettle here in the country. That question is still up in the air.
Bo, thank you very much.